Welcome to another episode of Breadcrumbs to Blueprints. I'm Natalie, and today's story is incredible. And we have a special guest here who's going to share with us his story about paranormal events. He's a real person, doesn't want to be seen on camera, and that's all good. So it's going to be a good podcast episode, this one. So welcome to the show, GB.
Thank you.
Now, this story all begins with a car accident. So let's start at the beginning, GB.
Well, when I was approximately 21, 22, I was driving from, at that time I was living in Italy, and I was driving from Modena, my hometown, to Milan, to catch up with some friends, and I had a massive car accident and ended up in hospital, broke my neck, had my neck on plaster for 6 months, but then I removed after 3 because I want to play volleyball. My doctor told me that was crazy, but that's life. Fortunately, or fortunately, I should say, I just broke in probably a millimeter away to be paraplegic
that
for the rest of my years.
So wow, so this is really serious.
Very serious. Anyway, after the car was recovered, the ambulance took to the hospital. Obviously, as a stupid guy, I never told my mother, my father.
You never told your mum and dad about the accident?
Because when I go home, they knew I was going around for sport and friends, summer.
Yes.
And when I actually appeared at their house was 4 or 5 days after the hospital, and I was already in plaster. So it was not time for my mother to be worried and ring at the hospital, how's my son? Anyway, that's...
Oh my goodness, that was incredible how you kept that a secret.
Yeah, I was never home anyway, so I was always traveling for sport or summer holidays or whatever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, going back to the accident, obviously I was very lucky that I could kill myself. That was not the case. And probably 20 years, I can't remember exactly, I was driving again with my brother from Modena, my hometown Italy, to Milan. And then I told my brother, sorry if I introduced this sort of, I had to stop to go to a toilet.
To the loo. A toilet stop.
And there was nothing available, so we stopped and I told my brother, stop in that particular place because that's where I had the accident.
That's where I had the accident, so pull over there.
And he said, why? I said, well, stop there.
Yeah.
So we stopped and then start chatting. I went down this sort of place where my car rolled at that time, and then while I was doing, getting rid of my physiological needs.
Yes.
I looked something sparkling and I get close, and it was probably 10, 15 meters from the main road.
Yeah.
And I saw this little plant, and something was twisted. And
so this is happening while you're relieving your bladder, and you see something sparkling in front of you that catches your attention.
When you do these things, you just think
about...
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
And I saw this thing sparkling. Initially, I didn't actually pay attention very much, but then I said, what is that? Anyway, then I walked there and I called my brother. I said, come have a look. I said, he walked down. I said, what is it? You know what that is? He said, no. I said, that's my chain that I lost when I had the accident. That was nearly 20 years after.
No way. So nearly 20 years ago, after you had that car accident in that spot, the chain
was still there.
That you lost.
And I don't know how actually, I still got it, obviously.
All right, let's stop there. How do you know it's your chain?
Well, first it was given from my father to me for a particular date, birthday, I can't remember, and had a little medallion with my name and my birth date. So
your name is engraved on it, and your birthday, absolutely yours.
Yeah, of course.
And so you're seeing, and you didn't, what did you do? Did you run up to it straight away and look at it and know it was yours before you told your brother?
I didn't realize what it was until I get a meter away, and I was shocked and surprised and really happy. I said, God, look here.
Yeah.
And then my brother said, I can't believe this. I said, that's amazing. I mean, after all this year, and it's still here.
It's amazing.
The funny thing is that because the car created a lot of damage and lost parts on the accident, that area was used by the police, by other people from the council to clean up and remove the car.
Maybe the fire brigade, because you said you rolled your car.
Yeah, I rolled the car, yeah. And they cleaned up, they took the car away.
Yes.
And in that space was clean, there was not much there, obviously. And she was there, hanging this probably a meter high.
What was it hanging on?
I was twisted around the branches and then I was
On a
little,
tree or a
No, it
bush?
was not a bush, probably a meter high.
This is incredible.
Yes, and so well, that must be a sign that I've done something right in the last few years, and
And
the destiny rewarded me something that I was really upset because I lost that. It was something from my dad, and I was
very sentimental.
very sentimental, and then I'll find it after many years.
This is just an incredible, I'm going to say a paranormal story.
Well, could be. I mean, like I said, I don't leave anything to the case. Is
Yes.
is a possibility that
Yeah.
I was passing by, and that day, something happened that the China actually was there, and the same day, probably will never happen that I asked, stop here. I could stop in 20 kilometers. It was a petrol station, and go to the toilet, and also
Yes.
needed to go to the loo, and
Yes.
I told my brother, stop there by a particular bridge, I
Yes.
remember very well, and it was there. So
You know, that makes it makes me think everything is for a reason. And these are just such phenomenal synchronicities that led you to the moment to...
someone must put it there that day.
You reckon somebody must have
I don't
hung it
know.
on that bush, and 20 years later, with all the wind and the storms and the rain...
Snow and
In the snow, so it snowed there as well.
Yeah, yes.
It is on that bush, but you happen to be facing it. What, you know, 20 years later, this is incredible.
Yeah,
It really
it is
is. It
incredible.
really is incredible. So, did you notice when you looked at the necklace, was there anything unusual about it? Were there any changes
It was
to
pretty
it?
dirty, of course. It was not rusty because it's gold,
Yes.
and but needs some cleaning
Bit
up
of cleaning up, yep.
and I still got it with me up to today. So
I'm speechless. I think that
No,
this
me
is,
too.
I'm so glad that you're sharing this with me and our audience today, because they're going to love this story. What do you think could explain the necklace appearing on the tree after all those years? What do you think happened?
well, I presume. I mean, many things come to toward your head, through your head. Sorry, and I think that that's me. I believe that the destiny or a reward, because it was something that I really care, and you know when they're saying, if you do something good, that good always come back to you. And the first thing come back. I'm not into that sort of environment, but
You're not superstitious.
no, but I say, well, I must have done something nice, or because to find that China after so many years, and someone, somewhere, or something, or whatever, want to reward me for what I did, and they returned the China to me because it was important for me.
It was
anyway.
sentimental and very
Absolutely.
important. Yeah. So, okay, so this experience, how has it impacted on your beliefs now about paranormal or unexplained phenomenon?
Well, like I said, I'm not part of that sort of environment and ward or paranormal, and obviously, always you try to think this happened for a reason, obviously, but I never actually find or try to find that reason. Always try to accept as a gift of the destiny or whatever it is.
Just accept it for what it is.
Exactly. Yes.
And have you experienced other unusual events or signs before that or since that time?
Well, before that time, as a joke with a group of friends, as you do when you are a teenager, you tend to like to scare other people, and we organize, I don't know what you call in English, when you sit around the table.
Like a Ouija board type?
Ouija board,
Seance?
yes.
A seance?
Yes.
It's a seance?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And because one of these guys was 6 or 7 of us sitting around this table, and first of all, we told guy number 9, which wasn't there, a certain time to call the phone which was close to our table. We told him ring at 10 o'clock on the dot.
So this person's not in the seance, he's in another place, and you told him to ring on the dot.
At the 10.
Gotcha.
And the guy, and 2 guys actually sitting on the table,
Yep.
they didn't believe in this.
Okay.
So the guy that was organizing, he says, if you like, I can get a sign of some sort of
Spiritual entity?
like the phone could ring in
Okay.
a couple minutes. That's the start of the joke.
Yes.
And then he looked at the watch, it was 10 o'clock. 5 of us knew it was going to happen. The other 2 said, no, you can't do that. Can't do that.
Non-believers?
At 10 o'clock, the phone rang.
Right.
But that was prepared.
Yeah, so you're expecting your friend because you told him to ring at 10.
At 10 o'clock. And that actually put a little bit of the sort of atmosphere that people start, oh God, especially those two guys that didn't believe. Then we put a plate, and that one worries me because, oh God, this is something that I didn't expect. A little plate on the center of this table, all these letters.
Oh, so it was a Ouija board.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But at the beginning it started as a joke to scare a couple of this guy. But then one of the guys was really involved in that.
Okay.
That's the reason because we organized this sort of
I see.
meeting.
So he knew what he was doing, and there was two absolutely non-believers that thought it was rubbish.
But we are the other one to scare them.
You just want
so
to
we make
scare
the
them.
phone call, but the phone call was not part of the serious.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the scary.
No.
So what was the reason for calling at 10 o'clock then, the friend?
To give a sign. If someone is around, give a sign that you're around. So the phone call around 10 o'clock,
Yes.
we pick it up, I was nobody on the other side.
Really?
That was prepared on purpose just to scare those two.
Oh, I see, a setup.
Then he said, now let's talk about serious stuff. All of you are going to tell you things with the plate. And I said, come on, this is... So everybody put their fingers on the plate.
So everybody's got their fingers on this little saucer plate?
Yeah,
Is that what it was?
A little plate.
And then around it's letters and numbers?
Letters and numbers, that's correct. And I didn't know this guy very well. Obviously, he asked me a question.
Yes.
That certainly I don't know. So first I asked my mom's name, which is a Brazilian name, because as you might know, I was born in Brazil.
Right.
And he struggled a little bit, and keep in mind that I don't know this guy.
So you don't know this guy, and he does not know, you don't know each other at all, so he absolutely does not know your mother's maiden name?
No. Different age bracket.
Yes.
Anyway, he struggled a little bit to go around. At the end, he put the first three letters of my mom's name, J-U-R. So listen. Then I start thinking, you believe someone else, good friend of mine, told him that. But these guys didn't know my mom's name.
Yeah.
There was no way they can remember my name.
So you were shocked.
I said, that's very strange.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, yes, that's correct. My mom is J-U-R-E-M-A. So you could give me a bit more time, or could actually spell the 5-6 letters of your mom's name.
Yes.
Something else. And I said, now I'm going to get my mom's birthday, which is tomorrow, by the way.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, my mom was born on 25th of November, 1930. That's it. And I said, okay. I haven't told him, of course.
You haven't told him, but you knew your mum's birthday.
Yep. So he started moving around. The first thing he did, he gave him the number of the month, 11. And I said, he's wrong. He said, keep in mind this one here is not the date he was born, that's the month.
Yeah, that's what he said. So you were like, oh my goodness.
11.
Hang on, have you all got your fingers on this plate?
Yes, of
You've
course.
all got your fingers, and the plate's moving
I was
towards
putting
the
my
letters.
fingers on the plate very softly. He said, don't put much pressure. Just let your hands do the work. I mean, in the sense of let things move around.
Crazy. Because I would think too, a bunch of males would be quite heavy-handed with their fingers on the
but he
plate.
actually instructed us not to put much
Don't
pressure.
push it,
Yes,
let
yes,
it be able to move if it wants. Yeah.
And then I went to the 25th, and then, so this is very interesting, 25th November. And so what year is that? And said, and we went to 3, and then went to 0. So 30, I said, yes, probably 1930. I said, yeah, that's correct. My mother was born on 25th of November, 1930.
Whoa.
And then between me, the first question, the second question, he did to other people as well.
Yes.
That he didn't know.
Right.
And the same thing, they asked him, how old's my brother? Or the number of the house, I remember now, the number of the house where my brother lives.
And everything was...
And everything that, and I said, well, always out thinking, somebody must have told him this, because obviously
But how could he remember it being spontaneous unless he was
correct.
like, remember...
He had some notes and things written down, I recall, but many years ago, so...
Okay, and you, in a conversation before this interview, you told me about this stuff coming out of... I looked it up, it's called ectoplasm, and I've done interviews on other people before that.
That's happened experience that I had from my father.
Oh.
Yeah, my father was in a show that he has to pay to get in.
So he went to watch a show?
He went to watch a show, and that was in Brazil, and then they had this audience, probably 100 people, and they had a stage and a protection, like a cage, And then this person, the chair, they sit in the chair. This person was dressed in white, and the guy next to this person start talking. And then after a few minutes, the ectoplasm start coming out from the person who was sitting in this chair.
Out of their mouth, you're motioning.
Yes, yes.
Came out of their mouth.
From the mouth and spread around, and then all these things. Some people actually didn't feel comfortable, walk away.
Yes.
Some others questioning.
Yes, curious.
And when that was finished, and the guy was presenting the show asked, so what do you think? And some people, oh, well, that's very impressive. But my father said, yeah, it's very impressive, but for me to believe, you had to let me come there and look at my eyes.
Well, close to the person on the stage?
On the stage.
It was on a stage?
On the stage, but they didn't let, so no.
They didn't let him.
They come up
But he saw.
Yeah, but to see, I mean, I can see a lot of things.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly. And did anything else happen? Did the chair move?
No,
or
no. It was just that sort of episode.
And can I ask, because I'm curious about this stuff and I do read a lot about this phenomenon, if you like, as well. What country was it in? Do you remember?
Brazil.
Oh, it was in Brazil.
Yeah,
do you remember the
born.
name of the person that was doing the trance work? No, okay.
My father was telling us this sort of episode, and he didn't mention any details of the show, the name, or...
Yes.
So.
And what impression did that leave with your father? Is he
Well,
still a
my
non-believer?
father was very...
Skeptical?
Very much, yes.
Okay.
And he always saying... The fact that they didn't let me... I had, from a scale to 0 to 10, when I showed that, my belief went to 3. But to get to 10, they had to let me touch with my hands or see close to...
This is your dad's
perspective. But obviously, it didn't happen. You went back to 0, so I don't believe anymore.
Okay,
This is
all right.
out of my words. It's not something that I'll try to convince myself that's true, because
Yes.
if you show me a trick or whatever you show me, and you stay 10 meters away, magicians or this thing.
Oh, yes.
And you say, oh God, he's doing something incredible. But
from a
they come
distance,
close.
he didn't feel like there was enough proof for him. He
No.
wanted evidence.
You know, you see magicians on TV, they actually split a woman in half.
Oh, yeah.
It must
There's
be
lots of
logic.
tricks.
Oh, there's a lot of
Absolutely.
things, yes.
Absolutely.
And he believed that was
tricks.
one of them.
Yeah, okay. All right. Moving along now, because I love Uri Geller, his whole story. I would like to for you to share, if that's okay, your experience with seeing him on stage.
Probably you don't know, but I play volleyball professionally for many, many years. And then through one of those nights that sport channel invite you as a guest to ask, interview, etc., etc. One evening I went to this program, on national TV, and there was interviews and ask, and then almost to the end of this interview with myself, my coach, and some team mates. And we have a special guest, and his name is Uri Geller. I don't know Uri Geller historically, and I heard about him.
You never heard about him. So
No.
to you it's like, okay, who's this guy?
Okay, Uri Geller. And they say, Uri Geller is such and such and such, and it's explained briefly what he was.
Yes.
And was probably 20 people sitting around this table, around this room, and they interview you, me, and others, and obviously Uri Geller was the main attraction that night. And which I was surprised, because sports has to do with that.
Yeah, what does sport have to do
anyway,
with that? Does it make sense?
Anyway.
Yeah, okay. He must have been big at the time.
Oh, very big, very big.
Yes, okay.
And he says, we have Yuri Geller here, and I can't remember now if he couldn't, they didn't interpreter because he couldn't speak Italian or whatever. And then he described his experience, in which it was out of my world. I don't know what this guy's talking about, because obviously you don't know him and you know what he does. And you cut long story short, and he actually, to prove that the power of your mind and that we all have,
Yes.
but not many people know how to use that. Example, they show, and also videos of a mother on the middle of the road, and he actually brought that example.
Okay.
I can't remember where in America. This mother was walking the road, her daughter got hit by a car.
Yes.
And the car was on top of the daughter, and the mother lifted the car, literally lift the car to free the daughter out of there.
Okay, so he's trying to provide evidence
Yes,
that
this is something that you I do have.
Yes.
And that lady didn't have that until she needed. So she comes out to do lifting a car. You cannot even get Hercules to lift a car.
That's true.
She did it enough to But that was on video, and I can't show you what I'm capable to do.
Yes.
And that's everything is thanks to my mind and brain,
Yes.
energy and power. And he actually want to show us something, and everybody pay attention because it was an interesting conversation. And he got this spoon on his hands, which probably everybody seen on Google or
So he had a spoon in his hands.
in his hand,
Yep.
and he didn't actually want us to do anything. So just pay attention what I'm doing. He closed his eyes,
Yes.
had the spoon on his hands, and then suddenly, one hand.
One hand,
One hand, and suddenly he closed his eyes. I remember exactly. And that spoon actually lost shape. Didn't bend totally, but actually lost 50% of the shape.
So how did it look?
It looked like I'm
Wavy or?
wavy, yes. Wavy just one direction, not like I'm
Up and down
up
waves,
and down.
just
No,
like
but,
hanging
yes,
down.
like a tree under the wind.
I get you, yep.
And everybody's, we start asking questions, but his answer was not actually good enough for us to believe what he was doing.
Okay.
It's very hard when you see something like this.
Yes.
Always you base your judgment on people's tricks.
Did
on
he let
TV,
you touch the
magician.
spoon? And
Yeah. He gave the spoon to everybody. It was a normal spoon.
So he's trying to tell you guys that you can do this with your mind if you direct your energy and your thoughts, your intention, have an intention. But it's hard to believe.
Well, now that I think, probably the connection between the sport and power of mind is something you can use in achieve more than you actually believe you can achieve.
Wow.
Training, preparation, concentration,
Correct.
but your brain is the one actually that directs you in that direction.
Link and connect. So now now you've explained that. I truly
I mean, I
understand
thought
why he
that
was
was the reason,
there.
yes.
It was an inspirational pep talk and almost planting the seeds that with your mind.
If you look today on the modern society, also in sport, there are people, they are, I don't know what they call them, a mental coach.
Yes.
They go to big corporation and sports teams at high level to make sure they actually understand what they're doing, they actually perform at the highest level possible.
Yes.
Not only using their physical power or their technique or their talent,
Yes.
but also their brain.
Body, mind and spirit. And these people see me
Yeah.
because I'm a hypnotherapist. So I help them to improve their sports performance by getting them fine-tuned.
In any sort of department, sport, business,
That's it.
relation, and anything. Corporation actually employ people. I have a friend of mine who used to be very good volleyball player.
Yes.
And he coached, but his dream was to become a mental coach.
Yes, yes.
And he's on YouTube, and, internet. He's on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
And telling that his experience. He went to Olympic Games. He won a silver medal Olympic Games. Played 500 games for Italy. He plays a super champion. And he said everything was achieved not only because I'm a good player, I'm strong, I'm tall, I'm talented, I have, but also because I understood that, especially towards the end of my career, I could achieve more using the power of my mind just to be concentrated. That sort of, I want to play sport, my mind has to be linked to that, and that's all.
Yeah, and how lucky are you to meet Uri Geller? Like I mean,
Well,
I
certainly,
think
it's not very many people had Yuri Geller did a lot of shows on TVs
Yes.
and alcohol shows because that's what they
that's
are.
what they were. Yeah.
But to personally be in front of him, not that he comes and said, nice to meet you, GB, or nice to meet you, and my name is Uri Geller, etc., etc. No, it was not that. He was there for everybody.
Yes, gotcha.
And he was introduced to everybody.
As a motivational tool. These stories that you've shared with us today are phenomenal, and I really appreciate you making the time to come here today to share them with us, with the viewers, because I think, well, I know they'll find these absolutely interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you again, and
see you next time.
Yeah,
or talk next time.
Thank you again, and if you have any other stories, come back and share them with us again.
Thank you.
Thank you, GB.
Thank you, Natalie.